Hey, what is up guys, this is your boy Toy here. Today we will be talking about Vykas hard mode gate 1 on my scrapper, and well, truth be told, I didn't watch any guides, so it took me about 6, almost 7 hours to clear the whole thing. I did have a blast though. I really did have a blast going in blind to figure out how the mechanics work by myself with the other people. We were on the Discord having a lot of fun, and I know, and this is one of the sad parts about the community, is that there's a lot of toxicity going about where there are basically two camps: people who do re-guides, people who don't, some people in between, and there's a lot of friction in between them. So if you want to use this particular method, get yourself a group of friends that are quite like-minded, because otherwise you will have a lot of frustrations. Let's go over a few of the mechanics. Obviously there are a lot of guides out, so you could better read those, but I would say quirk is I can make difficult stuff simple. So starting off with something quite simple, at 55 bars you will be separated from the other team, which means one of them gets the F-boy and we get the human form. The human form has what I'd like to call a mechanics, leading mechanics if you will. And at a certain angle, he will do several skills that you got to take into account. You need a little bit of communication. So for some reason, it seems very hard to not do this without a Discord. So that being said, teleports to the middle, and it is time for the very first mechanic. You all got to stand into the circle, big explosion, followed up by the gates. Now you assign the team numbers, and according to the gate, there needs to be a bubble that needs to be transported to it. 3 people as a bare minimum will need to hit the gate, otherwise you will get a team wipe on one party and you need to reset. Now obviously this is a method where you can deal a lot of damage, and another thing that I ended up noticing is that the human form takes way more damage than the demon, or whatever form it is, the F-boy form. That being said, the real big issue would then be doing enough damage, and this is where the SS skills come in particular the Nineveh one. Now although this boss is highly mobile, it has spots where you can use it. So I would genuinely say the person or the team that is currently performing the demon form, one of them get the party lead and they pop the Nineveh for whenever is possible. Next up is what I'd like to call, or the team called, the Velganos, which basically means you gotta do small pizzas, super easy. Before the bubble gets popped, you can actually see which rotation you have to go. It is random, either clockwise or counterclockwise, but it is fairly easy to understand how to do this. The next mechanic that will be coming up is a stagger check. Not the hardest one, except for where a lot of your team members are dead, but what you need to view is whatever buff you be granted right after that. This will indicate your position as is shown into the picture, and this is basically our go small pizza phase. It's nothing much harder, so you just look at the corresponding color, and I genuinely like to go a little bit more near the boss, because that way you don't have to have like a big ass movement speed. And next up mechanic is something that needs to be said to the other team, and in this case, move the hell outside. There are 2 different patterns, either move in or outside, and they have to stand there while the boss is charging their move. In this case, it is just shown communications is key. As for any of the other skills that you got to be aware of, the human form, every red indicator means get the hell out. On the demon form, it means get the hell in. And you will be seeing that really soon. As for any tell mechanics of any of the skills, well, obviously I could be going over every move, but I don't think it will be that necessary in most cases, except for maybe one. Fast forwarding this a little bit, because after you hit the 30 HP bar mark, you will not be doing any more damage until the other team reaches 30 bars as well. This is also one of the reasons why the demon form needs to be having the Nineveh extra damage. Now there's 2 ways how to deal with this situation. Is okay, I'm not doing any damage, I might as well just run away into safety. However, what I find is that I still get hit, and my healers are pretty unaware of my positioning at that point, so healing me is damn near impossible. So I just end up attacking, doing a little bit more damage that I then don't have to do once again once we get the split. As for the new form, means we need to take into account that every single purple indicator means stand in. As for the rest of the damages will be provided by Nineveh, popping down a 178 millions of damage, which is absolutely crazy. And then this mechanic is very peculiar for the fact that it will not only give you the AoE indicators, but a small dot onto the ground, which requires you to just simply move out. And there's two ways how to counter that. I would say don't run around like an idiot and get everybody else caught up into your small AoEs. Just look at the small indicators that will be popping up, the small dots. Just run a little bit outside of that. Time the rest ones and then move accordingly. This way your team members will not have an issue for you running through their path of moving. Velganos coming up, which means move the hell out. Don't stand into the middle, because that AoE into the middle will cook you. It's a counterclockwise rotation. Get the pizza. And the funny part about this is, even if you miss this, you can time stop the damage. That take about 4 to 5 seconds until this dude explodes. You can time stop this, completely survive this mechanic. It is absolutely crazy the fact that this is possible. Next up mechanic is a requirement of the other team to look where is the safe spot. So they said 12 o'clock we stand over there and we are safe from any imminent danger, which is quite crazy. The front to back movement, once again, stand a little to the side. I genuinely use that time for simply using debuffing skills or bleeding skills, things that barely do any damage but stack up if you do them anywhere. As for that skill where he just jumps to the sky, move the hell away from your team members. If you don't do that, you will get jumped upon and other people will have some issues with you standing into their path. AoE indicators, once again, as long as you stand into the purple zones, you are safe. Another neat factor that I ended up incorporating a lot within my runs is you can dash through the boss. It's one of the only things that you can do to reposition yourself in a pretty neat angle. Although the boss's hitbox is quite small, dashing through it proved to be very, very significant throughout the run. Once again, people running at the same spot, like I said them not to, well, it could be my my bad anyway. So that's something that you really don't want to do within this boss at all. Front to back, once again. Now if you have paralysis immunity skills and a healer that will be able to heal you, you could just simply stand there, take the hits, but I'd rather not take the risk, because let's face it, the chances of your teammates dying, especially in the hard mode, is quite likely, and then you will need to be able to get outside of certain skills while still maintaining damage. So it is best for you to practice, I would say. Outside of that, we've practically seen all of the mechanic. Dashes up, never stand into the back of him, which is a very neat mechanic in itself. Velganos coming up, because there's two ways with the dash up what he does. In the human form, after he dashes, he then has a 90-degree difference of skills instead of sending a body projectile to the back. And that basically means on the demon form, you cannot simply run up to him without knowing where the hell you need to go. We heard standing to the middle, and now we had our party leader, or at least the one that had the lead, an absolute monstrous timing when it came to Nineveh. Because what we found as well is that if you pop your Nineveh, if you miss that, that is huge damage loss. And that can be a problem if everybody is just 40-60, bad engravings, or just about whatever that comes with it. So having yourself to time your Nineveh for whenever the boss is doing huge AoEs with a huge recovery frame increases the potential of you hitting that skill. And by simply waiting instead of just firing that thing at random, it will increase your success rate as well as increasing your damage overall. So that will be one of the final tips that I would give to you guys for the boss. Obviously, Haven't gone over like all of these mechanics as to attack patterns and such, but I think within time you will get accustomed to them. As long as you be very aware of, let's say, the Velgonos mechanic, the run mechanic with the gates, the small pizza from Argos. Once you get those known and can execute them properly, then this will definitely be a big increase of success. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in Gate 2. Peace!